Please click on the subscribe button so you get notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it.
All right, guys, so let's dive into the world of NFL football. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals have finally come to terms with their first overall pick, Shamar Stewart, on a fully guaranteed $18.97 million deal with a $10.4 million signing bonus. With that being said, they have resolved one of their two defensive issues. They are still holding out or still trying to figure out the whole Trey Hendrickson situation. And although they did sign the number one overall pick, Shamar Stewart's numbers in college does not necessarily signify that he can be a replacement for the production that Trey Hendrickson had. And since defense was the biggest issue for the Cincinnati Bengals last year, and Trey Hendrickson, even though defense was an issue for the Bengals, led the league in sacks, had a tremendous year, they should prioritize now by all means necessary getting the Trey Hendrickson deal situated, because with all due respect to Shamar Stewart, you're getting paid, you're making your money, but I don't think he'll be able to even get a quarter of the production that Trey Hendrickson got the entirety of last season. With that being said, because we know the offense was tremendous last year for the Bengals. Perine, Jamar Chase, fucking T. Higgins, Joe Burrow. Those guys are gonna they put up the points. They put up 40, 50 fucking almost 50 points a fucking game. They couldn't win the games because the other team was scoring more points on the Bengals defense. Now you got a new defensive coordinator who's from college, not necessarily proven in the league, and you don't have your number one pass rusher there. Because of the drama, personally, I think the Bengals are more likely to miss the playoffs than they are making it this year, or even making a conference championship run, maybe a Super Bowl run. Yes, I know they have the great Joe Burrow, but again, Zach Taylor, since the Super Bowl that he's made it, since the Super Bowl appearance that they had, where they could have won, where they should have beat the fucking Rams, in my personal opinion, Zach Taylor hasn't necessarily lived up to it. They always come off to a slow start to start the season. And this year, it's been reported that Joe Burrow is going to play the preseason. They're going to get tuned up. They're going to go ready, so they go hit the ground running hard week one. With Joe Burrow's injury history, we'll see if he'll be able to stay healthy. I still think, because of all the noise, the Bengals are more likely to miss the playoffs. I think the Ravens win the division again. I think the Steelers have a better shot at making the playoffs. I think the Bengals are third on that list. And fourth on that list would be the Cleveland Browns, which actually takes me to my next point. Shedeur Sanders, Joe Barry, their general manager, has come out not...
Guys, you're watching a Shady Mob production. Make sure to follow the Shady Mob podcast where we break down all the latest content and talk about life. Please make sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
Not necessarily scolding Shedeur, but making public comments saying that it wasn't smart, and that if you are basically, if you want to be a franchise quarterback, or if you are if you are in the less than the 1% of the 1% of the population in America, and you have a job that less than the 1% of the 1% of the 1% can have. You're not a starting quarterback, but you are on an NFL roster. You're competing to be on the Cleveland Browns, be a part of the Cleveland Browns organization, be on their day one roster, 53-man roster when the season starts. You can't be making these stupid boneheaded plays or these stupid bonehead moves. This is coming from me, who has multiple speeding tickets, who has had like issues with like license suspended because of like driving violation. Like, bro, like you have it, you can pay the fines or whatever, but you have to hold yourself to a much higher standard. As somebody like me who's just an average American living his everyday life, it it does affect you. You get your licenses like these are issues that like you get points to your licenses. Like I don't know how it works out in Cleveland, but like you might have to go to driving school. Like it's time out of your day that you gotta like maneuver. Like you might have to miss practice because you got to go handle some parking ticket fucking issues so you don't get points on your license. This is the lifestyle you're gonna live, right? So it's just like all these little things that like Shador just needs to think about. And I know, like I know that people think it's like, oh, Shador's gonna make the roster, like they're gonna carry 4 quarterbacks. Realistically, like the Browns, they drafted Dylan Gabriel to be essentially the heir apparent. There realistically, I think he'll be like the third or second string quarterback behind Joe Flacco. I think Kenny Pickett, if the two, if Shador or Dylan Gabriel have a good showing in the preseason, I think Kenny Pickett might be traded for a weapon or something that's going to help them in their development. But realistically, I don't think Shador is gonna be cut. I think he'll be placed on the practice squad. I think or I don't think Shador is gonna be placed on the practice squad. I think he'll make the roster simply because he is a big name and teams might like him. And if he has a decent showing in the preseason, then teams are definitely gonna wanna like monitor that situation. I think they're gonna trade Kenny Pickett by the time the second week of the preseason starts, and we're going to see Kenny Pickett someplace else. Joe Flacco is going to be the starter this year, and let's not forget that they have Deshaun Watson on the roster. I don't know what he's doing or where he's been, but Deshaun Watson is still there, and we're going to see what happens with Deshaun. Another headline that has made the realms or the news is the Raiders cutting Christian Wilkins, who they recently signed, I think this past year in March, to a long term extent, so like a 3 or 4 year, $92 million extension, something like that. Basically, they voided his contract, said that he wasn't rehabbing something that needed to be rehabbed a certain way. Think he required foot surgery and he opted against it, and because of that cut they decided to basically cut him and void his contract. He's obviously filed a grievance against the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think the reason why they cut him was because if the Raiders win this dispute or whatever, then they'll have the cap space to manipulate over the next year or two to sign other players. And because it is a different regimen that the Las Vegas Raiders are in, I think he signed while it was somebody else's, while it was still under the that fiasco of the Josh McDaniels era or whatever happened last year, right? No, that wasn't Josh McDaniels. I think it was Antonio Pierce. So after that fiasco, I think now they're cleaning house basically over in Las Vegas. Um, I still think the Raiders are the Raiders, and whether it's Las Vegas or Oakland or Los Angeles or wherever they are, they're still garbage. They are still not gonna compete for anything. I just, yeah, man, it's you got the AFC West with the Kansas City Chiefs, who I think are still gonna win the division. I think the Chargers make it a close second. Broncos make it a close third. I think those three teams make the playoffs, and I think the Raiders miss it. I know Pete Carroll has come out and said that he thinks that they can win 10 games this year. I don't know. I know he has his quarterback. I know he has Ashton Genty, who is going to be, I think he's going to be a stud. They don't necessarily have a good receiving core. Um, and that offensive line, in my personal opinion, is still shaky. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. But I don't think the Raiders have what it takes this year to really make the playoffs. Now, to cap this all off, let's talk about my San Francisco 49ers. Recently, Malik Mustafa has been spotted, looking amazing. And it's funny because now I'm starting to hear pundits and sports commentators and everybody, oh, I think the Niners are gonna be good this year. No shit. Have you seen the fucking schedule? Like, even when the schedule came out, people were reluctant. Um, but the Niners are deep. I've been saying for the longest amount of fucking time. I know we've had like reports where Juwan Jennings, they think that like Juwan Jennings is gonna he's disgruntled because of his contract situation. He was in his last year. Juwan had a good year last year. He's got a shot at being the number one, but he also understands he's not necessarily penciled in as the number one. We got Jacob Cowing, we got Ricky Pearsall, who we drafted last year. Ricky's was a our first round pick last year. Okay, like we paid Brandon, who isn't necessarily healthy, but he can still come back. I expect him to be there by week 1, if not by week 2 or 3. I think we're gonna be fine if Isaac Guerrero can take another step forward. We got CMC. If there can be a 50-50, 55-60, like 40 split there, Kyle shouldn't just necessarily run the fucking ball all the time with CMC. You got other options, especially Guerrero, who has proven him, who has shown glimpses that he can be the equivalent to CMC at his age and eventually take the mantle from him. The defense, in my personal opinion, is going to look great with Nick Bosa, Bryce Huff, and Mikael Williams, the new guy that we just drafted this year. We got Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa as our safeties. We have decent corners in Renardo Green and fucking Diamador Lenore. I think Renardo Green is going to take another step forward this year. I think we still got Yadam. We still got Isaac Yadam, who I thought played well for us last year. We're fine. And we got fucking Robert Saleh calling the defensive plays. Like, I'm confident. As long as we can move off of fucking Jake motherfucking Moody. Like, Jake Moody's just as bad as Kyle Williams. He gives me PTSD, ladies and gentlemen. God. If we can move off Jake Moody, I think, and we can find a kicker that can win games in the clutch, because Brady had a fucking kicker. Peyton had a kicker. Breeze had a kicker. Fucking Mahomes has a fucking kicker. What's his face? Jake Elliott, the fucking kicker for the fucking Philadelphia Eagles. Every team that has won the fucking Super Bowl has had a legitimate kicker, and that is what we are missing. We need a kicker that, if the game comes down to a field goal, wins the game, he can hit that field goal and not choke like Jake Moody fucking does. If we can get that resolved, I'm confident in my Niners. You can put money on us making it to the NFC Championship game. Now, when we get there, I don't know if we'll win. I don't know if we'll lose, but we'll see how the season goes. But you can bet money that the San Francisco 49ers are making it back to the NFC Championship game this year. Take that to the bank. With that being said, we'll be right back, and we'll hit the world of soccer, or as I like to call it, European football.
Guys, have you heard? Nelson, tell the people.
Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons.
Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Guys, join me, Alex the Man Angelov, and check out A&A Radio, where we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest financial news, investments, banking, and personal finance. Check out the channel, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.